So doing less with more, huh? I mean, isn't that exactly backwards? Aren't we supposed to be doing, become more productive and do more with less? Well, at Bluestreak, we like to challenge these conventional ideas and conventional thinking. So we think actually companies should be doing less with more, not more with less. Really, that means do less human labor by leveraging more technology. So before we get into this, there are a couple key takeaways from the session. The first one is your company is either growing by continuously moving forward or it's dying. There really is no status quo. Second, you need to become a true captive heat treating department for your customers. In fact, you need to be better than their current departments. 3, you can leverage the right technology to connect more with your customers and simultaneously reduce your labor requirements. And 4, you can build virtually bulletproof connections with your customers. The one obvious key to growing is continually moving forward, moving your company forward. Really a process of continuous improvement. We've all heard this before, no doubt. And some of us have actually put it into practice. Well, at least until we get past that one big issue that we're working on. Then reality sort of interrupts and there's a couple new fires that need our attention. So here's your official notice before I continue. If you are happy with where your company is today, if you are satisfied with your sales, with your profits, with the quality that you're producing, then there's really no reason why you should stay here and listen any longer to this session. There are a lot of good sessions going on. I don't want to promote anybody to leave, but you know, if you're happy where you are, then this probably isn't the session you want to stay in. Good, no one's leaving. All right, so moving forward is really a current political buzz phrase that infuriates half of the voters and the other half are clueless about this. I'm not talking about a political agenda here. I'm talking about our corporate entities. In a real sense, we are prisoners to our own individual and corporate thinking, the culture, and inertia. You know, we say it's time to move forward, but unlike the hapless man in this cartoon, we actually can move forward in any direction that we want. Our current corporate inertia, well, one definition of inertia is the resistance to change. We've all heard that. So it's really a property of a body by which it remains at rest or continues moving in a straight line unless acted upon by a directional force. Our corporate culture and inertia has a profound impact and keeps us from really taking on the challenges we know we need to do. So why is that? Why do we not take on the changes we know we need to do? I like to call it earnest chaos. So what's earnest chaos? It's all of that chaotic daily activity that you and your employees undertake in order to keep the proverbial lid from blowing off. All the organizations and individuals have it, and its general symptoms look like this. It's frantically trying to keep all the balls in the air, all the daily functions and responsibilities that keep everybody weighted down. It's firefighting, hopefully not literal firefighting. But it's constantly moving from one fire to another, never getting a breather to actually work on the tasks that you know you need to do, and you know they will help you free up time to do other essential functions that only you can do in your organization. And constant task switching. It's a result of always having your focus moved to the hottest fire. Task switching is absolutely devastating on efficiency, productivity, and morale. Because of the constant task switching, you and your employees may often end up leaving loose ends that you find it difficult to fully complete the previous tasks. That lack of focus to completion causes those fires to routinely flare up again, causing another round of meetings, tempers, finger pointing, and firefighting. An organization operating like this will see a pervasive lack of accountability for tasks. Not setting clear responsibilities and deadlines for tasks coming out of meetings just reinforces this culture that thinks, well, even though a mandate was decreed at this emergency meeting, you know, she really didn't expect me to actually do something about this, right? That's somebody else's responsibility, not mine. So these really prevent an organization from continuously moving forward. So does your company culture resemble an animal that is more like a shark or a sloth? So the answer is, you definitely want to be a shark. And I don't mean to imply that good corporations are some ferocious predators like sharks. Certainly some people think that, but I'm using a shark in another analogy. You may recall that most sharks a need to keep moving, otherwise they suffocate. However, some can lie still for some short periods of time. The main reason why a shark needs to keep moving is it needs oxygen-rich water passing through its gills to survive. If water flow stops too long, it literally drowns. By the way, that's a picture of a nearly extinct shark called a basking shark. So for your company to survive, it needs a constant flow of new customers. Think of that as water, along with a good, stable amount of current oxygen-rich customers. So if your company stops moving forward too long, then new customers stop flowing in, and existing ones eventually disappear, and the corporate entity will suffocate. So how do we keep moving forward? Well, first of all, you have to look out the windshield. You can't move forward if you're always looking out the rear view mirror. And another quote here from the great philosopher Meryl Streep. Put blinders on to those things that conspire to hold you back, especially the ones in your own head. So what do these ideas really mean? The key is to stop looking back at problems and constraints that you know need to be addressed, and just address them right now. Put blinders on so you don't get distracted by other perceived fires, and just get her done. Otherwise, those constraints that you see in the rearview mirror somehow keep moving forward to block your path to really making progress. I can't tell you how many companies that I talk to that know they have a severe technology problem, technology and software problem. They've been fighting it for years. They know they need to change it, and they are really motivated when their software is the biggest fire. We start to engage with them. They love what we show them. They know without a doubt that what we have to offer them is their future, and they need to change. But 9 times out of 10, another fire pops up, and they move their focus away. And then months down the road, they are once again reminded that their technology is failing them when some event flares up and causes this software fire to get hot again. Around and around this cycle goes until once and for all they commit to it. Unfortunately, in the meantime, they've lost all the advantages they would have had if they had just focused and committed to get her done when they had the first opportunity. And this cycle is just a huge, huge constraint. So now that we've decided to keep moving forward, we need a way to bulletproof connections for our customers, or to our customers. We need to become a true captive heat treater for our customers. You need a way to integrate directly into their manufacturing workflow. So think vertical integration like a supply chain. Ideally, you'd want to offer some type of manual entry to allow your smaller customers to enter their own work orders as a means of communicating with you. And I'm not talking about paperwork or faxes or emails or anything like that. This is easily done through a web-based portal that you can provide your customers. For larger customers that are more sophisticated, you need software technology that can provide a B2B or business-to-business or EDI, which is electronic data interchange, which is really a one-way connection to their internal MRP or ERP system. That's a system that runs all of their manufacturing orders. The one-way communication is from their system to yours, and this really could be a stepping stone to the next method. And that's really an ERP direct connection. That's the ultimate integration with your customer. As with the B2B one-way version, when their internal system recognizes that parts in their manufacturing order are ready for heat treating, their system can call yours and automatically generate a new work order and notify your driver to pick up the parts or notify the shipping department to expect the parts to be delivered. The ERP direct connection would take it to the next level and automatically communicate back to your customer's system the status of the heat-treated parts and can notify them when the parts are ready to be picked up or when they will be delivered. If you have this type of system-to-system or B2B integration with your major customers, you can provide them some very, very valuable benefits. You can eliminate their paperwork and their labor time. You can provide them better visibility and control with your shop than they have with their own internal department. And that's really the key to dominating your competition in the captive world and locking in these major customers. I've been involved with a series of these types of integrations, and I'm here to tell you that this is really, truly a win-win scenario. So just think about it. If you had this relationship with a dozen of your top manufacturing customers, do do you think they would have any incentive to go looking for secondary sources of heat treating? Not likely. And they might even pay more for your service if you were connected at this level because of the reduced time and labor costs. So just how do you build bulletproof connections with your customers? I'll break this down into 3 areas that you need to address with your internal system or software or technology. And that's consolidation, connectivity, and integration. So first, consolidation. It's really taking these disparate systems or data and combine them into one unified system. For instance, quality or QMS documentation, nonconformances, complaints, corrective or preventive actions. This kind of data usually lives in disconnected silos. So it probably takes 1 or more people to manually associate the silo data with a job being run in your shop. This data needs to be automatically tied directly to production with every job that comes in. Other data silos, human capital management, or think employee training and equipment maintenance, these systems and data need also to be tied directly to production. So by automatically consolidating these data and managing them in one application, you can have the ability to make sure that the operator or the vendor or the furnace is qualified to run at the required specification at the specific point in time the job is being run. The operator can automatically be notified in real time if there is a corrective action that needs to be followed when racking the parts, for instance. He can have all the job information, pictures, videos, POs, specifications, quality characteristics, past tempering history, and more available to him immediately without having to remember it himself or filing through dozens of filing cabinets trying to find some paper documentation. All of the information provided to them would be accurate, precise, and most importantly, current. Connectivity. Use current technology to make sure your employees can be connected to your system anywhere in or out of your shop. Smartphones, tablets, wireless, anywhere, anytime connectivity. You should have the same view and access to your shop data at the office, at home, on the road, or in your customer's office. Your business needs to connect in real time with customers without taking your or your employees' time for phone calls, faxes, or emails. You can have your system keep in contact with your customers automatically. Connect employees on the shop floor. Operators, on the shop floor absolutely need to interact often with the system to make sure that they understand every minute detail of the job being run. Are there particular specifications to reference? Is there a particular operating procedure to follow? Are there data to capture for each load? Is there 1 or more corrective action that needs to be followed? Have the processing instructions been changed? Perhaps the tempering temperature has been increased by 15 degrees. Are there any special changes that need to be acknowledged and followed since the job was initially entered? Operators need to be kept informed even at 2 a.m. on your 3rd shift. And vertical integration. Again, think supply chain. I addressed this earlier with the building bulletproof connections. But we all know that 90% of the heat treating is done by captives, right? And if you look around the room and all of the commercial heat treaters there are in MTI, you're all fighting for this 10% of the market. So the simple truth is you need to be your customer's captive department. If you make a conscious effort to move forward and invest in current software technology, you can position your company to take advantage of a market that is 9 times larger with almost no commercial competition. You really can't ask for a better business scenario than that. Again, you may be thinking, all right, how am I supposed to do that? Well, let's investigate further with some more concrete, or should I say cast iron examples. First, you need to get your technological house in order. Stop looking in the technological rear view mirror. You know you need to update your systems. You've been thinking about it for a couple of years now. You get reminded when your software flares up on a routine basis. Honestly, if you have software systems that you've put in place 5 or 10 or more years ago, they are likely technologically obsolete and are holding you back. I mean, how many of you still use a cell phone you had in 2000? I mean, I had a cell phone and a PDA. Remember PDAs? Those don't exist anymore. And I don't use either of those anymore. So for a little reference, let's take a look, a little visual reference of what technology world looked like just 12 years ago in 2000. These should look familiar. So here's a quick photo comparison of technology changes in the last 12 years. You can see they're pretty profound. So let's take a little bit more detailed comparison. In year 2000, Windows 98 was the dominant operating system. You probably had 256 meg or maybe 512 meg of RAM in your computers at the office. So are you still running Windows 98? In 2012, Windows 7 is the dominant operating system for PCs. You can easily put 24 gig of RAM and 2 terabyte of disk space in a laptop. Will your current software even run on Windows 8, which is officially released? It'll be in a couple weeks now. Windows 8 is a huge paradigm shift for Microsoft. Back in 2000, for the first time, we hit 51% of the households in America had internet access. But that was from dial-up modems. In 2012, many states have over 85% of households connected to high-speed internet, and only 4% today use dial-up services. Back in 2000, Apple did not have the iPod, let alone an iPhone or an iPad. And also a tablet was something you swallowed. In 2012, Apple just released its 5th generation iPhone. Did anyone get it here? All right, lucky people. 5th generation iPhone, their 3rd generation iPad, and there's a rumored to be a new iPad on the horizon. Back in 2000, the words smartphone were not connected. The BlackBerry was just introduced. It had no internet access, and RAM was not some type of a measurement on a cell phone. Fast forward to 2012, everybody with a smartphone has high-speed internet access on demand. You can get 64 gig of RAM in your tablet or your smartphone, along with high-definition video and crystal clear audio. In 2000, software was deployed on a CD, and you had to install it on every computer. In 2000, the term web app did not exist. In 2012, phone apps are rapidly being replaced by web apps. So really, there's no installing apps on your phone or your computer anymore. The browser is the operating system of the foreseeable future. So you can see a lot has changed. Yet there's a good possibility that your current software technology was built and still lives in a world that existed a decade or more ago. So after seeing that technological comparison, hopefully you have a better frame of reference as to how and why your current software technology can be holding you back. If you feel your current systems are not up to the task of taking your company into the future, you need to find a like-minded technology partner that is committed to moving forward and staying current with hardware and software technology trends. Doing so offers you the best and least expensive method to keeping you ahead of your competition and provides you the maximum flexibility to service and satisfy your customers. So let's do a little thought experiment, and let's try to envision a new future reality for your heat treating business. So imagine if you could automatically connect specifications and quality directly to the shop floor. If you could do that, you could guarantee that operators, vendors, and equipment are qualified to process the required specifications for each job in real time. How about a PPAP that you receive from a new customer? You could guarantee that only the furnace and other equipment that were approved in that PPAP are used to process the parts. You could guarantee that only the operators that have the proper and current training are allowed to touch those parts. Imagine if you could collect any type of data you need in real time right from the shop floor. Data like NADCAP, operator control dimensions or operator control characteristics, or corrective action data, or quality characteristic test results like hardness or case depth, or load photos or videos or charts or notes. They all can be automatically saved as permanent artifacts of each job that you run through your shop. The physical traveler or job card or work order, paper, whatever you call it, that would become irrelevant. Imagine if you could assemble all of the detailed production information for a given job with just a couple of taps on your tablet. You could instantaneously prove all of the operator training, the equipment maintenance, the vendor certifications, calibration data for every person, entity or equipment that touched your customer's parts. If you had that, I mean, what would that do for your company when running internal audits? And how much faster could your external audits be if you had access to that kind of data quickly? Imagine if you had a system like that, one that was extensible and future compatible, one that you could grow into when your organization was ready. How would that positively change the way your company operated, acted, and was perceived by your customers and prospects? How would that position your company when talking to new prospects? Would you be able to, do you think you'd be able to leverage that ability to break into this absolutely huge captive market? So we know in real estate the three main attributes are location, location, location. But in the heat treating future, the three features are mobile, mobile, and mobile. Everything, I mean everything, is going mobile and wireless in business and manufacturing. As I mentioned earlier, smartphones and tablets are the way of the foreseeable future. So you need to be moving as quickly as possible towards total wireless, anywhere, anytime, any device, access to your shop's data and intellectual property. Keep in mind the mobile revolution is not just for you or your employees, it's also for your customers. Giving your customers mobile, anywhere, anytime access to data regarding their parts in your shop is essential. So conclusions here, without a doubt, arriving at this new reality will definitely take time. It takes a technology provider that pursues perfection. It'll definitely take a plan, but most of all, it takes real, no excuses commitment from the top of your organization. Just a reminder here, the key takeaways from this session, your company is either growing by moving forward or it's dying. There really is no status quo. You need to become a true captive heat treater for your customers. You need to build bulletproof connections with your customers. And you need to leverage technology to connect more with your customers' systems and dramatically reduce their and your labor requirements. You need to be an integral part of their supply chain. So some final thoughts here. I want to leave you with this fact. You need to believe in better. You need to believe in better partners, better customers, better jobs, better employees, better morale, better everything. It's out there, it's waiting for you. You just have to go out and find it. And by working with technology, and that's it. So thanks again for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them now. If you want to stop by our booth, you want to email me, information is there. Or at booth 209 if you want to stop by for some good conversation and some warm cookies.